He's just has some comments here that I'm just going to shout
Okay.
out for a little
All right.
inspiration for you. Uh, you spend money to make money. He understands you can't save your way into prosperity. That's the statement he has here.
Yeah, and I've had some managers that have tried to do that. They figured the way that they could make their profit was cutting their expenses. And if there's a point where you can cut some expenses, and everybody has some waste, and you can always cut some expenses. But the only way you truly make any money is by selling advertising. And any broadcaster out here that's worth his salt has got to go sell ads. You can cut expenses, you can cut anything you want to cut, but that's not what's making the money. The money's coming in through the door with your advertising, and you've got to sell ads. That's it. It's the only source of revenue you got. And if you can get the revenue and get it collected, that's the other part. I mean, just because you sell it, you got to collect it. And we're very strong on collections. We make people pay, and there are businesses that don't pay something every month, but we're going to make damn sure it's not us. I mean, they'll always pay their water, they'll pay their electric, and you got to pay the government no matter what. You pay the government first, and then you worry about everything else. But there are always some bills they don't pay. Well, we're not going to have that. Our operations be the ones they don't pay. We expect to be paid every month, and we go after it, and we vigorously go after this. And if we get somebody that doesn't pay us, we take them to court. Well, and it's also good too, because what it does now, then it teaches, it lets the other merchants know that we're serious about it and we will sue you. So they pay us.
Um, he says here that you understand that business is pretty much unlimited. The amount of business in most markets is limited only by your imagination and willingness to go after it.
We always talked about how high can the rates go? And I don't know what that limit is. I don't know how high or how much you can charge for an ad. What's an ad worth? I don't know. I mean, we all put an arbitrary value on it, and if we believe that that's the rate, then that's what we do. The problem you get is a lot of people are out here and they have a rate, but they're willing to reduce it. They cut rates and they're trying to make some kind of deal all the time. And I think it scares the merchants. I think when they start seeing these cut rates come in all the time and they say, well, I'll give you 10 ads for $100. Well, I'll give you 80. Well, okay, I'll take it. Well, then it's just cut the value. I mean, it depends on what you want to be. I mean, we always equated it to you want to be that old rusty car, or do you want to be the bright, new, shiny sports car out here? Well, we're going to be the sports car, and we're going to be the best, and we're going to ask for it. And if you don't pay it, that's fine. We're okay. We're going to move on. But there's so much business out here. If you take 3% of the retail sales of any particular county, we're not even coming close to getting what's out there. And we've just got to ask. That's why our telemarketing works so well. We're taking small clients out here that nobody ever called on, but they'll spend $50 to $100 to $200 a month, and we're getting that kind of money from people that had never been asked to buy advertising before. We're going to ask everybody.
That's a great idea. um, tell me a little bit about the belief of the power, your belief in the power of radio to really work for the client, to create prosperity for the client, for the advertiser.
Radio works. However, it's like magic to people. They don't understand it. And the problem is they can't put their hands around it. They can see their newspaper ad. They can't put their hands around that radio ad. And there it goes, it's out in the air, and after it's played, it's gone. And they don't understand how radio advertising works. They don't understand the subliminal ways it works and how people are told. The old question used to be, if you had a choice, would you rather be blind or would you rather be deaf? Which would you choose? Most people say they would rather be deaf. But it's because they'd already learned the skills of hearing. But if you had your choice, if there was a choice to be made before you knew either of those, say when you were born, you'd be better off being blind than you would be being deaf.
That being said, tell me a little bit about what you believe the other media does for or doesn't do for an advertiser.
Newspapers got problems. Kids don't read newspapers anymore. The studies show that the size of ad does not necessarily gather more people reading that ad just because it's a larger ad. People don't necessarily see it. I think the newspaper guys have got lots of problems down the road. They've got major problems. The cost of newsprint keeps going up. They don't know how to sell. If newspaper people sold like radio people, they'd be all right, but they don't. They're just not that good at it. TV guys, TV's just inherently expensive. You've got the production cost and all those kind of things. But we don't have that in the radio because we don't do production ads here either. Our company doesn't do production ads. We do straight voice ads. Either we do a straight voice or we have the merchant do the ad themselves. And they talk about the merchandise they have and how much they want for it, what their price is, and where they can find them to come by. We don't try to be cute. We don't try to run jokes. We don't run background music in the ads because it detracts from the message of what we're trying to tell the people. And by doing ads the way we do them, where they're straight voice and everybody says, my God, you have a boring radio station, we may, but it works. And what we try to do is we program our radio stations defensively rather than offensively. We don't program our stations to get listeners. We program our stations not to run them off between the commercials.
That's a great point. Talk a little bit about one of the things that we're trying to do. Obviously, this to the vast majority of people out there in the business, this is a new program. We're trying to show that it's not a new idea, it's not a new concept. Tell me a little bit about the relationship that you've had with Norton since the late 60s. I think he's got 1968 down here.
Well, I mean, Norton's known our family since 1968 and been involved with us. I've known Norton not quite that long, probably really started in the 80s, more for me. We've talked a lot about business, the radio business, what's right with it, what's wrong with it. But we both had the basic core belief of basic advertising and long-term advertising. We've always believed in that. We've both believed in it. And what we have now is just a different way to deliver our belief. And like I said, it's not just training the salespeople, because basically that's what most everything does. It trains a salesperson. All the sales training that's out here trains a salesperson to go do certain things. With this, yeah, we're training the salesperson, but we're really training the client. And when the client is trained, it makes our life easier because we're on the same page. They're not guessing about, they've seen the same things we've seen. We both know where each other stands because we are there together. We have gone through this together. That's what helps us probably more than anything else.